Good morning, dear students. Welcome to the English Canvas. I'm delighted to have you all here for another enriching session. Today, we'll explore one of W.B. Yeats' most profound and philosophically rich poems, Lapis Lazuli. This poem is not just a literary piece, it's a reflection on art, mortality, war, and the enduring spirit of creation. If you found this lecture helpful, then please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. So, Lapis Lazuli is written in 1936. During a period of intense political unrest and approaching global conflict, Europe was witnessing the rise of fascism, and many artists and intellectuals feared the collapse of civilization. W.B. Yeats, however, offers a contrasting view rather than succumbing to despair. He celebrates the role of art in transcending tragedy. So, this poem was inspired by a gift, a piece of Lapis Lazuli stone. It's kind of stone, right? So, it's a kind of stone that carved with the image of two Chinese sages climbing a mountain. For Yeats, this image became symbolic of how artists, despite sorrow and destruction, continue to create beauty and meaning. So he reminds us that even amidst chaos, the human spirit finds expression in art, music, and poetry. So Lapis Lazuli combines Eastern philosophy, classic imagery, and Yeats' own aesthetic vision, right? Making it a powerful meditation on endurance, creation, and the immortality of artistic expression. Right? If you enjoy literature, poetry, and deep exploration of human spirit through words, do stay tuned. Your support means a lot. So, now let's dive into the poem line by line and uncover the layers of meaning hidden within Lapis Lazuli. So, let's read the poem line by line. I have heard the hysterical women say they are sick of the palette and fiddle bow of poets that are always gay. So here Yeats refers to women who complain that in a world facing destruction, art feels inappropriate. They are tired of cheerful poets and musical instruments which are symbol of a seemingly careless attitude. However, Yeats defends the artist and suggests that their joy is not superficial, it comes from deep understanding and acceptance of life's tragic beauty. For everybody knows, or else should know, that if nothing drastic is done, aeroplane and zeppelin will come out, pitch like King Billy bomb balls in until the town life beaten flat. So reflect these lines reflect the looming threat of modern warfare. Yeats anticipates bombing and devastation like those in World War One. So the reference of King Billy connects with the earlier battles like Battle of Boyne, um, merging historical violence with modern fears. Yet despite these terrors, Yeats insists that art remain not just relevant but essential, right? So in this first stanza we can assume that Yeats' timeless message that art is not a luxury but a deep response to the world's chaos, right? Now the next stanza is all perform their tragic play. So it means Yeats says that life is like a stage and all human beings are actors performing their own tragedies. Every individual faces sorrow, loss, and emotional conflict. There struts Hamlet and there is Lear. So the poet W.B. Yeats references Shakespeare tragic heroes who are Hamlet and Lear. ये दोनों ही शेक्सपियर के ट्रैजिक हीरोज हैं. Struts are refers to how actors walk with pride or emotion while performing, showing that tragedy is being enacted with dramatic flair. That's Ophelia, that Cordelia. Cordelia. सो ऑफिलिया भी जो एक कैरेक्टर है वो हैमलेट से है, और जो कॉर्डेलिया कैरेक्टर है वो किंग लियर प्ले से है। हमने किंग लियर पढ़ा था तो वहाँ पर आपको ये कैरेक्टर पता चला होगा। बोथ हुम आर इनोसेंट वेमेन, ऑफिलिया और कॉर्डेलिया दोनों ही इनोसेंट वुमेन थी, हु सफ़र ग्रेटली इन देयर रिस्पेक्टिव ट्रेजेडीज़। ऑफिलिया को हैमलेट में और कॉर्डेलिया को किंग लियर में अपनी इनोसेंस की इनोसेंट थी ये, फिर भी इनको काफ़ी सफ़र करना पड़ा। सो दिस लाइन कंटिन्यूज द मेटाफर ऑफ लाइफ एज थिएटर, राइट? Yet they should the last scene be there. So even when the story reaches its tragic end, the final scene, these characters of Ophelia and Cordelia remain composed. The great stage curtain about to drop. So the stage curtain symbolizes death. The stage curtain symbolizes death, or we can say end of the life, the conclusion of the performance. If worthy their prominent part in the play, so these characters or the play are truly dignified and have fulfilled their roles meaningfully in life or art. Do not break up their lines to weep. So they don't cry or break down emotionally even in the face of death. They perform with grace till the end. They know that Hamlet and Lear are gay. Gay means joyful or spiritually elevated, not in modern sense of sexual orientation. Please don't keep in mind that gay means joyful, right? Yeats argues that despite their tragic stories, Hamlet and Lear, and by extension all of us, achieve a kind of transcendence or inner joy through their suffering. Gaiety transfiguring all that dread. So this inner joy transforms or transfigures the fear, honor, and the pain of tragedy. Tragedy leads to beauty, depth, and sublime understanding. All men have aimed at, found, and lost. So Yeats reflects on universal human experience. Everyone searches for meaning, love, joy, and peace, finds it temporarily, and then loses it. So this is part of a tragic cycle. Blackout, heaven blazing into the head. So blackout suggests death again, and or sudden loss of consciousness, the moment when the stage lights go out, but simultaneously there is a spiritual awakening. Heaven blazing into the head. This it means it's this phrase suggests enlightenment or divine realization at the point of death or climax of tragedy. Tragedy brought to its uttermost. So Yeats describes tragedy brought to its highest, most refined point, complete and total emotional depth. So though Hamlet rambles and Lear rages, even though Hamlet rambles means talk endlessly in confusion, and Lear rages means he rants in madness. तो ये होता भी है इन प्लेज में। हैमलेट जो है वो एंडलेसली कन्फ्यूजन में बोलता रहता है वो। उनका एक बहुत फेमस डायलॉग भी है, टू बी और नॉट टू बी। तो वो उसी टाइम का है, और जो लियर है वो पागल हो जाता है, राइट? मतलब ही rants in madness, and all the seas drop at once. Even if all tragic moments, all dramatic deaths, madness, betrayal happen together across the world upon 100,000 stages. It means a countless theaters, 100,000 stages, मतलब countless theaters symbolizing society, symbolizing lives, societies, and nation repeating the same tragedies. It can't grow by an inch or an ounce. So tragedy itself doesn't grow or change. It remains constant. The suffering, the fall of men, the emotional depth, these are universal and unchanging. Human beings keep repeating the same tragic pattern. So in this stanza, Yeats is not merely speaking about art but about the resilience of human spirit. He insists that True artists and thinkers, like great actors in a tragic play, don't crumble under sorrow. Instead, they turn pain into beauty, even when the world is falling apart, like during war. True art reveals a deeper, unshakable joy beneath the surface of tragedy. Right? Now, the next stanza is: on their own feet they came, or on shipboard, camelback, horseback, assback, muleback. So these line evokes the imagery of people from ancient time traveling across the world, either on foot or by ships or on various animals. So they come on foot, on feet, or on ship, or camel, horse, ass, मतलब donkeys and mules. So it's a poetic summary of how knowledge, civilization, culture moved and spread. मतलब हमें पुराने समय से लोग आए हैं, उन्होंने ट्रेवल किया है एंशियंट टाइम से पूरी दुनिया में, कभी कभी चल कर आए हैं, कभी शिप में आए हैं, कभी कैमल पे आए, कभी हॉर्स पर आए, कभी एस पर आए, कभी म्यूल पर आए, पर आए ज़रूर हैं. Old civilization put to sword. So this refers to the destruction of ancient civilization through war and violence. Sword का यहाँ पर जो symbol है वो war से लेकर है और violence से लेकर है. Put to the sword. It means they were conquered and annihilated. Right? Then they and their wisdom went to rack. So went to rack means to fall into ruin or decay. After the destruction, the knowledge, culture, and wisdom of those civilizations also perished. Right? No handiwork of Callimachus. So no who handled marble as if it were bronze. So here's a reference of Callimachus. Callimachus was an ancient Greek sculptor and poet. Sculptor and poet who known for his delicate and intricate marble work. Right? Yeats laments that even the finest artist achievement like those of Callimachus could not withstand time, made draperies that seemed to rise when sea wind swept the corner stands. So there's a reference of how realistic and fluid Callimachus sculptures were. For example, sculpted clothing जिसको draperies बोला है, looked so light and real that it seemed they could move in the wind. Yet, despite this artistic brilliance, such work no longer stands. It means they have crumbled or have been lost over the time. Right? His long lamp chimney, shaped like the stem of a slender palm, stood but a day. So these lines describe one of his creation, likely delicate and graceful, likened to the stem of the palm tree. Stood but a day means it was short-lived, again a reminder of impermanence. All things fall and are built again, and those that build them again are gay. So this is the philosophical core of the stanza. Civilization may fall, all things fall, matlab civilization may fall, art may perish, but human beings rebuild it, matlab built again. All things fall and are built again. It means civilization may fall, art may perish, but human beings rebuild again and again. And those who rebuild it and those who built them again are gay. It means they are and those who rebuild are not defeated or mournful. मतलब वो लोग दुखी नहीं है. They are gay, joyful. Gay means joyful, happy, spirited, and resilient. So these lines captures Yeats' idea that true human greatness lies in our creative spirit and resilience even in face of ruin. Right? Now the next stanza is: two Chinamen, behind them a third. So speaker describes a carving showing two Chinese men, Chinamen matlab two Chinese men, with a third, behind them a third. So with a third figure behind them. This image is likely taken from the Lapis Lazuli carving gifted to Yeats. मतलब वो जो स्टोन है उस पर ये carved है, उसमें दो चाइनीज मैन है और उनके पीछे एक और फिगर है. ठीक है. So are carved in lapis lazuli. So these figures are engraved on a piece of lapis lazuli, a deep blue semi-precious stone The whole poem is inspired by this artwork, making it central to the poem's theme, right? Over them flies a long-legged bird. So a long-legged bird, perhaps a crane or a stork. इनकी लॉन्ग लेग होती है ना, लंबी लंबी लेग होती है इनकी. सो अ लॉन्ग लेगेड बर्ड, परहैप्स अ क्रेन और स्ट्रॉक, इज फ्लाइंग अबव देम. मतलब वो जो लेपिस लेजुली है उस पर दो चाइना मैन है, एक पीछे एक और फिगर है तीसरे की. सो उनके ऊपर ये लॉन्ग लेगेड बर्ड है जो उड़ रहा है. परहैप्स इट्स फ्लाइंग अबव देम. In many East Asian cultures, such birds are the symbol of peace and longevity. तो ये जो bird है ये peace और longevity का symbol भी है. ठीक है, a symbol of longevity. So the bird represents long life, longevity. It means long life, and its presence above the figure adds a spiritual or philosophical layers to the carving, hinting at the endurance of wisdom or tradition. The third, doubtless a serving man. जो मैंने बात की थी ना कि स्टोर पे दो चाइना मैन और पीछे एक और फिगर है, एक और पर्सन की फिगर है. तो वो जो थर्ड पर्सन है, the third figure behind the two men is likely their servant, their serving man, indicated by his position and role in the sculpture. Carries a musical instrument. So this servant carries a musical instrument, possibly a lute or a pipe, suggesting that the men might be poets, scholars or performers and conveyors of the culture and art, right? Now the next and last stanza, yes, the last stanza of the poem is: every discoloration of the stone, every accidental crack or dent. So the speaker observes the lapis lazuli carving closely and notes that even the imperfection or the color variation in the stone adds meaning, right? Every accidental crack or dent. So every crack or flaw in the stone, whether naturally formed or accidentally created, becomes part of the artwork's beauty. मतलब अगर इसमें कुछ error भी हुआ है इसको बनाते समय, carve करते समय, अगर कुछ color की वेरिएशन हुई है जिसकी वजह से इम्परफेक्शन हुई है, तो उस इम्परफेक्शन ने भी उसको मीनिंग दिया है. अगर कोई क्रैक और फ्लॉ हुआ है स्टोन पर, चाहे वो नेचुरली फॉर्म्ड हुआ हो या एक्सीडेंटली क्रिएट हुआ हो, लेकिन उस फ्लॉ ने भी, उस क्रैक ने भी उस आर्ट वर्क की ब्यूटी को एक मीनिंग दिया है. मतलब इट बिकम्स पार्ट ऑफ द आर्ट वर्क्स ब्यूटी, राइट? सीम्स अ वाटर कोर्स और an avalanche. These cracks and dents resemble natural features like a flowing stream, water course मतलब flowing streams, or falling masses of snow and rocks, that is avalanche. It shows how art imitates nature even in imperfections. A lofty slope where it still snows. So the poet imagines the sculpted landscape as a snowy mountain, adding to the image's richness and serenity. Though doubtless plum or cherry branch, so he envisions plum or cherry trees blooming nearby, which are the symbols of beauty and transience in Chinese and Japanese culture. Sweet is the little halfway house. So these flowering branches are imagined as beautifying a resting place, a spot on the mountain where the figures might stop. So halfway house symbolizes the moment of pause during a spiritual and artistic journey, right? Those Chinamen climb toward an eye. So speaker imagines that these Chinese men, these Chinese figures in the carving ascending towards this peaceful resting place. He identifies emotionally with them, adding this word, this I and I करके ना, by adding this and I, suggesting he too is part of that reflective journey, right? Delight to imagine them seated there. So he enjoys picturing them resting together peacefully, engaged in art or contemplation. There on the mountain and the sky. So the resting spot is elevated, surrounding by nature's grandeur. mountains, and skies, suggesting spiritual transcendence. On all the tragic scene, they stare. So from their high vantage point, um, from their high vantage point, they observe the tragedy of life unfolding below without being disturbed by it. One asks for mournful melodies. So, one of the men requests sad, emotional music, suggesting an awareness of life's sorrow and beauty. Accomplished fingers begin to play. So, the musician among them starts playing skillfully, indicating the power of art to express and soothe human grief. Their eyes made many wrinkles their eyes. So the poet highlights the aged हो गए वो काफ़ी wrinkled है वो. The poet highlights their aged wrinkled faces of the figures, emphasizing their wisdom, experience, and emotional depth. The last line of the poem is, their ancient glittering eyes are gay. So, despite all they have seen, tragedy, aging, sorrow, their eyes are still bright. अभी भी मतलब इतने सब कुछ देखने के बाद भी उनकी eyes bright हैं, joyful हैं, and full of life है. And the eyes are gay. It means they are happy. They are full of life. They are bright. They are joyful. Right? So this closes the poem by reinforcing the idea that true artists, even in the face of destruction and sorrow, remain joyful. Right? So this is all about this poem. In Lapis Lazuli, Yeats challenges the pessimistic worldview that sees destruction and tragedy as ultimate ends. The poem opens with a reference to women tired of art and beauty in times of crisis. They feel that joy is inappropriate when the world is falling apart. Yeats, however, argues otherwise. He asserts that civilization have always risen and fallen through vivid images such as shapes, camels, and old empires crushed. Yeats shows how destruction is a part of history. Even the finest art, like the delicate sculptures of Callimachus, doesn't last forever. But crucially, those who rebuild after ruin are always joyful, right? For Yeats, joy comes not from ignoring tragedy, but from transcending it through art and spirit. So the poem then describes a lapis lazuli carving of three Chinese figures climbing a mountain, one playing a musical instrument. Despite the cracks and damages in the stone, Yeats imagines the landscape as beautiful and tranquil. The figures are old and wise, and though they are surrounded by tragic words, they look on with understanding and inner joy. So the final line stresses, even in the face of sorrow and loss, true artists and uh, wise beings retain their ancient glittering eyes. They remain gay in the old sense of joy and joyful and spirited. So this joy is not shallow happiness, but a deep, hard-earned resilience. So this poem was W.B. Yeats' final and powerful statement. It's the last poem of by W.B. Yeats in our syllabus. So, through his depiction of destruction, history, sculptures, and music, Yeats teaches us that a true artist responds to tragedy not with despair, and but with creative joy and spiritual strength. Since this was the last poem in our syllabus, so in our next class, we will move forward and discuss strategies to answer previous year questions related to this topic, the selected poems by W.B. Yeats. And we will discuss how to tackle thematic, critical, and stylistic questions effectively. So do join with your questions and notebook ready. And comment section is for you. If you want to if you want me to discuss a particular question on this topic, you can comment that question, because I'll make the class by tomorrow, right? So do join with your questions and notebook ready. Till then, keep learning, keep thinking, keep enjoying. Thank you.